You're in the right place at the right time if you're ready to quit sugar for good. Now, if you have a sugar addiction, I feel you, yet this is something that you have not heard before. I'm not just going to tell you to cut it out and give you the alternatives. I will mention some reasons why, yet the main reason you have not heard this before, especially if you're still addicted to sugar, because you won't be addicted to sugar after this. Now, the main reason why you are addicted to sugar is your identity. Now, stay with me to the end because it's not going to make sense just hearing this one word. You'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I got it. There's a science to changing your identity, and it's not just about repeating affirmations like I am not addicted to sugar or I am healthy, happy, and pure love. Now, those things are helpful, yet the real reason why you're addicted to sugar is because of your identity or your subconscious programming. Now, I've made other videos that you can check out about your subconscious programming, like the 4 S's to your subconscious programming. Your social life, right? You have been told over and over again that sugar is good. Not only is sugar good, but it's a reward. My son goes through the same thing, and he doesn't even like to eat that much sugar at all. He'll like count how many grams of sugar in it. Yet I'm not going to demonize one food, because what is really another vital aspect to why you're addicted to sugar is, why are you choosing to quit? Is it because you're overweight, or because you have a true addiction and you start and you can't stop? I've watched documentaries where this lady literally sprayed Windex on the refined sugar with like a Snickers bar or a candy bar or something. She'd eat it, throw it in the garbage, and pick it out of the garbage. So then she sprayed it with Windex so she wouldn't eat it anymore. Now that's a level of addiction. And they probably go hand in hand. You're addicted to it, you can't stop, and you're overweight, and you're attributing being overweight to this one thing. But it's usually not one thing that gets us somewhere. It's a multitude of things. So congratulations for taking this step. We're going to focus on the sugar addiction now. So again, part of your subconscious mind is telling yourself this is a reward. Subconscious means, another word for it is unconsciously. So you're not consciously saying, I'm going to give myself a treat tonight for doing this. Sometimes you might do that, but other times it's a subconscious reward. Here's another way. Besides at school, when they're giving it to you as a reward or a treat for doing something good, every birthday, just about every holiday, there's a cake surrounding every birthday. There's all these treats or desserts, followed by a huge dinner where you're almost comatose. And the reason why you could still eat sugar after having all of that food and feeling full is because you have all of these taste buds, but there's also, beyond taste buds, sensors for sugars. And the USDA has like literally replicated a sensor for sugar to make sure something is a fruit. And if it doesn't have enough sugar quality or percentage of sugar, then it's not considered a fruit. It's considered bad. Like if you've ever grown a fruit yourself or tasted a fruit that just is supposed to be sweet and it's not sweet, it tastes gross. So we have programmed our mind, and other people, like social is part of our subconscious, or sounds that we hear is another part of our subconscious. Those are 2 different S's, right? The news or movies, overtly and covertly, like you're just watching someone eat the sugar and they're like, this is, they facial expressions that it's good, or that it's completely taken for granted and part of their daily life. Or they're like, come on, live a little, have some, this is so good. And that's over. Covert is they're not making too big of a deal about it. So those are 2 ways that you're getting programmed. And you could write down some lists of how you're programmed. You had cake every year for your birthday. You had, in school, it was a treat, it was a reward. and start writing down some of them, because awareness is key. Until you're aware and you accept, you're not going to be able to change your belief system and create another identity or reality, because your identity controls your reality. Your beliefs build your behavior, right? And when you start focusing on like just quitting sugar, that's going to create a feeling, more probably of a need of wanting to have it, and that creates your function, because focus creates feelings and feelings create your function, or belief builds behavior. So getting down and acknowledging or becoming aware and accepting what's happening, not feeling weak or anything, just realizing you're human. And this is part of our programming. A computer has a program, we have a subconscious mind, and it controls a lot of us. It's kind of like our heart. As a man thinketh in his heart, so shall he be. Our heart is really our subconscious mind, and it's 90% of the time that it's in control. Your brain or your head is only in control 10% of the time, being your conscious mind. So we're living on repeat, on autopilot. Being aware of that is going to be one of the first steps to changing your identity. A bigger part of your identity is the stories you tell about the situations and circumstances that are happening in your life. So if you say, I deserve this, or it's not such a big deal, or I'm going to be addicted forever, or it's not really making me overweight, or it's not affecting my brain, or it's not decreasing my immune system, or the inverse, research what sugar does, right? Get some more facts about it. It decreases your immune system, destroys our teeth, destroys our gut bacteria so that we crave more. And we're going to get into that right there, because when you crave more, that is what we call the little monster. There's a great book about that by Alan Carr, right? His easy way of quitting things, the little monster, and we're going to discuss that in a moment. Yet find out the facts so you could create a new story. That's the third S. The sounds that we hear, our social life, and the story that you're telling yourself about this. And then the biggest one is your self-talk. When you're telling yourself, I gotta have it. At the end of the day, I'm gonna have it. Or I'm gonna just quit it. I'm quitting. Change the focus to something better. Create more meaning in your life instead of comparing yourself to your old self. Create new things. Some say, when I keep busy, then I'm not gonna do these things that are hurting me, right? I gotta stay busy. I've heard that by so many addicts. And that's cool, you could use that term, yet I think a more clear and concise term is create. Keep on creating. Write a book, create some art, some poetry, create some activity, go for a walk, create new habits in your life. And that will change your self-talk. You have other things to do, other things to accomplish for self-talk. And your physiology is the last like pseudo S of your subconscious, right? Change your posture, open up your heart, change your facial expressions, change the tone that you have. Take away the importance and the attachment you have to sugar and to quitting sugar. Yes, take away the attachment to quitting sugar, because if you put so much importance to it and make it such a big deal, you might get freaked out and you might feel too much pressure and actually not do it. Bet you probably haven't turned that one either before. Okay, so this alone is going to change it so much. Now, the little monster. The little monster is a pretty big deal, and it lasts for a little amount of time. It does not last that long. The little monster is the physical addiction that you feel. Like, we have a physical addiction to smoking tobacco, to drugs like opiates, heroin, or codeine. We have a physical addiction to sugar. And it's been proven over and over again. We could really kind of go stir crazy and have these physical tendencies. Super simple to get over. So simple to get over. And it's part of that story that you're creating, right? In your identity of what sugar is. sugar is a refined food, and you still benefit from, and your body physically, I want to say needs, it could do without it, yet it really does thrive instead of survive with sugar as opposed to without. Now you're like, dude, I thought you just said to quit sugar and to create a new story. This is part of the new story. I'm not talking about refined sugar, and this is the vocabulary is important, because words heal, words kill, and words are the rudder to our boat. Words give ourselves direction. Those are biblical quotes, right? And when we just try and kill the little monster and have no sugar whatsoever, like a keto diet, these are shown over and over again. They're temporary diets that could get you to where you want to go, like lose weight, yet they're temporary. They're not sustainable. Why would we do them? Let's do something that's more permanent, that's more sustainable, that you can do for a longer period of time and thrive instead of survive temporarily. It's like fasting. Go ahead and fast. Fast and sleep for about 3 days. You should probably have some someone watching over you that has some medical experience and education to know what signs are dangerous in a fast and what are good signs in a fast. But a fast is eating no food whatsoever and resting and having water. 1 day, 2 days, even 3 days, you're good without anyone watching over you or really knowing much about it. If you feel a lot of pain or sickness, you might want to slowly break that fast with fruit. And fruit's where we're getting at, because if you start to have fruit, then you can kill the little monster with fruit. And what do I mean by that is because you're feeding your body physically sugar, but it's unrefined. When we refine sugar, we have 6 classes of nutrients, right? We have, of course, sugar, which is also called a carbohydrate. I'm not going to write the whole word. We also have protein, right, which everyone's after right now, and we have fat. These are the 3 calorie containing nutrients. And then we have 3 more. We have vitamins, we have minerals, and then we have water. Now, fruit contains all of these, contrary to popular belief that when people don't study nutrition and don't read books, textbooks on nutrition or medical physiology, then they're not going to understand. I have a master's and a doctorate in nutrition, so I've studied what food is and the biochemistry of it. And fruit, you could easily look it up. It's going to have all this. It won't have a lot of fat, it won't have a lot of protein, but it will have fat and protein. And that's what makes it a whole food. When we refine sugar, let's take maple syrup as an example, or beets is a better example. I was going to use maple syrup as an example because you could have maple water that contains all of these, and when you create maple syrup, you are literally boiling out the water and the vitamins and minerals and fat and protein for hours, if not a full day, to get just the pure carbohydrate. Corn syrup, same thing. We get the pure carbohydrate, which is also known as a sugar. A complex carbohydrate is 10 or more molecules of sugar that create a carbohydrate. And when we have a whole food, a whole plant food, always has sugar and fiber. Fiber is another carbohydrate, right? And it's always bonded with sugar. Fiber is in every whole food. May not be that much fiber, but there is always fiber in a whole food, like dates, strawberries, pears, peaches, melons, nectarines, bananas. They always have fiber with the sugar. And romaine lettuce has sugar and has fiber. A head of romaine lettuce has a few grams of sugar, like 7 or so, depending on which romaine you get, right? You could look that up. Chronometer is a great free app, or MyFitnessPal. There's a lot of free apps or free websites that will break down what you're eating and give you the carb, protein, fat, vitamins, minerals, water. These are the 6 classes of nutrients you need to thrive. I say thrive because you can survive, as we know. People cut out carbs and then they go through gluco, right? That means sugar. Neo, right? You watch The Matrix, that means new. Gluco, neo, and genesis. And Genesis, I think I spoke that wrong, but we'll go on. Right, in the comments what you're getting out of it and how to spell Genesis. From the Bible, creation. You create a new carbohydrate if you really starve yourself for long enough from carbohydrates. This is why the little monster is going to be so much bigger than you need it to be. The physical addiction is going to be way bigger than you need it to be if you're not eating any sugar. So eat that fruit and enjoy it because it's filled with water. It's one of the highest sources of vitamins. It has minerals in it. Actually has essential fatty acids if you have seeds in the fruit, like carambola or star fruit or strawberries or guava have a lot of seeds, which means they not only have a decent amount of fat, they have more protein than other fruits. Now, they're not a high protein food, but you will get enough. We don't need high amounts of things, we need enough. And you will get enough protein and fat by consuming primarily fruits and vegetables in your day. Now, you don't need to go to such an extreme diet yet. One can argue that the standard American diet is more extreme than eating only fruits and vegetables. But you can include other foods and whole foods and be able to get all of these nutrients and not too much. It's really that we're getting too much carbohydrate in that we want to stop if we feel addicted, and too much means we're gaining weight. Too much means we have excess fuel or excess carbohydrates, and it shows up as excess body fat in the diet. Now let's finish up by looking at the big monster, okay? Because we have the little monster and the big monster, and the big monster, woo, party time, celebrate, congratulations for being here. Okay, the big monster is the lies that you've been told that you sold, bought, and are part of your identity. So we call it a lie identity. And I have another video about lie-identity to really explain it in full. But a lie-identity is believing that you are anything but pure greatness. You are pure spirit having a material existence. Your persona or personality, also broken down as a mask, right, is whatever you choose it to be. Your persona could be that, right? And that's what these masks are about. Physiology. If you keep on making this face, you will start to feel how that face feels. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out how that face feels. And I got another one that's a smiley face. Is it worth taking out right here? Apparently so, because I'm doing it. Give me a moment so these books don't completely fall. That would be a pretty funny thing, right? So this is another face, right? You could have that face and feel good. That's another way of changing your identity and making this easier than it has to be. It doesn't have to be hard. This is an easy thing. You have bought another identity that it's hard to quit sugar, that you need to have sugar, that it's part of your culture and the drug-like effect. I think that's why, and I've been studying this for over 27 years, passionately. I've taught in school, I've gotten degrees. 2 reasons why people eat. is culturally, the people that are around them that make them believe that this is the best food ever, that on another part of the planet, and it could be a few miles away from where you're living, that food is ew gross. And the food is to die for where you are because of the people around you that program, your subconscious, right? So cultural indoctrination, which you could change easily, or the drug-like effect. And that's the little monster. The little monster, good news, it's only about 3 to 7 days. Now, the habit of it could be about 3 months. And that's where we start to go up to the big monster. The big monster could be 3 days, it could be 3 months. And if you really are struggling, it could be 3 years or 30 years. That's when addicts are like, oh, I'm still struggling, because they have not changed their identity, the big monster, and they think that it's a reward to have sugar, in the case right now that we're studying. Or they think that it's impossible to avoid sugar because it's in bread, it's in this, it's salad dressing, it's in everything. But stop refining it, have more fruit so you kill the little monster quickly, and then start researching some nutrition. Subscribe to this channel so you could change your big monster, change your circle of influence, like me and you being together more often, so you could understand that sugar, you don't have to demonize and you don't have to eat. I could have a little bit of sugar and not be completely addicted. Matter of fact, had a cookie last night, and I'm like, saying to my baby, I'm like, bro, isn't the cookies I make with chickpeas way better? Search chickpea cookies, right? And there's alternatives. You don't have to use like dark chocolate. You could use pure cacao nibs or chips, and they will be absent of sugar, so you don't awaken the little monster inside of you, at least until you change the big monster, your identity, thinking that it's not just okay, but you take it for granted and understand and tell yourself this identity that you're addicted and it's to die for. Because culturally, you've been having it for so long. But we got ChatGPT, we got Google, we got amazing chefs. You could search for your favorite recipe and say an alternative. And when you see agave maple syrup and honey, you might want to skip over those. Honey is probably the better alternative, but it's still highly refined by the bees. It's actually bee vomit. That could change your big monster right away. Be like, ew, that's gross. I don't want to eat bee vomit. Right? You change your identity. You could start looking up how sugar is made, that it's in factories, and bugs, roaches, and flies, and all these other things are in your sugar and in highly processed food. That may get you to be more gravitated to eating more fruit because you can see it. Get high quality fruit, organic if you could, but seasonal, local, beautiful, ripe, fresh fruit. Do some research. Ask the people that are enjoying the fruit. Be around those people and ask them how to let it ripen properly, where to get higher quality fruit. Go to a farm, grow it yourself. Create new activities to create a new identity. And then it will be so easy. Come back once you completely quit and create a new identity, and throw some things in the comments. Also comment now, tell me what you got out of this, share to another sugar junkie, and subscribe to the channel since you've been here. Why? So you can change your circle of influence and get more information that will change your reality to live a great life. Blessed love to you, and have a phenomenal day.